Internet and mobile communications are redefining the way we communicate. And as you know, there is no oak tree without an oak seed. That is why Networks in this package is focusing on the oldest means of communication, which is postal services, particularly zooming in on Nigerian postal services. Welcome to Networks, your authoritative ICT program on television. I am Bumi Idowu. By extension, the Postmaster General shall also be educating us on the new Stamp Duty Act the NIPOST is trying to implement, among other things. But before then comes ICT news across the globe. Stay with us. Scrutiny, debate, argument characterize the first of its kind Joint Action Committee on Information and Communications Technology Awareness and Development JASITAD Forum in Lagos. The inaugural forum, which focused on the Nigerian Communications Commission's intended regulation on lawful communication interception, brought together the industry eggheads to review the NCC draft policy on lawful interception regulation. While across board, the speakers affirmed the need to have such a law to combat criminal activities across the nation, without mincing words, a greater percentage of the sitting vehemently argued that the NCC lacks a legal status to pass such a regulation. According to them, such can only be passed into law if and only if the Commission submits its intention to the National Assembly. Several other questions also followed the proposed regulation. Although one of the speakers is of the opinion that the NCC has enough right, according to the Communication Acts of 2003, to promulgate such a regulation, others maintain that the Commission will only be passing through the back door. The lawful interception regulation, if passed into law, will empower security agencies in the country to monitor telephony, internet, and other electronic communications as part of measures by government to secure lives and properties in the country. More than 7 million adults in the United Kingdom have never used the internet, figures suggest. Research from the Office of National Statistics, ONS, says while 43.5 million adults were now online, making it 1 million more than the same period last year, 7.1 million remain offline, with the elderly and disabled still the least likely to be connected. One digital accessibility charity said the numbers were encouraging, but more work was needed. It is not just about access to the internet, said Graham Walker, chief executive of Go On UK. 16 million adults don't have the basic online skills to confidently take advantage of digital tools. The data was based on response to the question, when did you last use the internet? The statistics indicate London has highest rates of internet users, which stands at about 90%, while Northern Ireland has the lowest, which is about 79%.
Me? I don't tire. Can I by force? If you don't like a something be, why you dey suffer yourself? Why you dey suffer yourself? I don't see where better thing dey. People they chop a wolf nyaf, everything they work. Me, I don't carry my property, switch, sharp. If you dey there, they look. Oh, if you follow me.
It's simple and free to switch to the Etisalat network and keep your number. Switch to Etisalat network today. Call 0809 123 4000.
Etisalat, now you're talking.
The internet and mobile communication have been considered threats to the success of postal industry across the globe. they have dealt a blow to its patronage. With website and email addresses within reach, post offices world over are losing the attention of their customers, corporate and private, and revenue also fast dwindling. From Abuja to Lagos, apart from obsolete facilities, customers express their views and challenges using post offices.
I haven't tried letters. I've been using Postal a couple of times now, but with my experience, I'm sure I would like to try letters as well.
The service is okay. It's okay. There's no much people around. The service is okay.
It's good. It relieves you of stress of having to bother whether your mail will get missing or not. Like I came now, I have a sleep. I've been here for some time. I came, I think about a few months back because of the nature of my work. But they put a slip there that I have some mail inside. Anytime I'm chance, I should come. So I sent my dispatch rider and he brought that slip. That's why I've come to clear my mails.
Amidst these complaints and inspired information communications technologies, Network spoke to the nation's Postmaster General, Alhaji Mori in an exclusive interview, and he insists on how relevant post offices are.
You are talking about emails. Fine, you can use emails to get information done. But if you have to go into contract agreements, that cannot be done, through the emails. And the phones can only take care of voice discussions. This is just to say that you wanted somebody to actually meet you, or you tell the person I have arrived safely and so on. And that's all. But if you wanted something to be documented, certainly you have to make use of the post office. This post office that I'm talking about, it may be a national operator like the Nigerian Postal Service, or it may be DHL. It's all post office.
No government-owned post office across the globe, however, seem insulated from the postal meltdown brought about by the ICT age. In year 2010, the United States of America's 237-year-old postal service was facing a $3 billion deficit in a drop of its first-class mails, even with its adoption of new technology and independent regulator. The company estimates a loss of up to $7 billion in annual revenue, or one-half of its first-class mails, as consumers go online to pay bills and communicate. As at February this year, the U.S. Postal Service announced that it would have to stop weekend services by August because of expenses. Earlier this year, the United States Postmaster General, Patrick Donoghue, told the Congress that there are three radical steps the United States Postal Services, USPS, have to take to save the organization due to its fiscal insolvency or experience a collapse of postal services.
The 113th Congress convened on January 3rd. The number of members returning on both our Senate and House committees and subcommittees. We've got a lot of education to do, just bringing people up to speed on issues regarding the Postal Service. Legislative requests remain unchanged. We need to resolve the retiree health benefit pre-funding requirement, not get rid of it, not refuse to pay it, pay it. It's our benefits. It is in our best interest to pay it, but we've got to pay it on the right schedule. You will hear me continue to press for our own health care plan, because if we have our own health care plan, it will be better than what we have now for a lower rate, better benefits, and it also will help us on the RHB funding going out into the future, as well as some of the retirement costs going out into the future. The other thing we're going to be pressing on is the first surplus, Federal Employee Retirement System. If you remember, we thought we were due $11 billion. Some changes in the funding rates and the interest rates on the money that's in there has actually shrunk that down. We think it's about $6 billion. We will fight to get that back to pay the debt down. We'll be looking for delivery frequency changes, and that means moving mail delivery from 6-day to 5-day. It will also mean package delivery on Saturday. Post office is open Saturday.
Some in the postal business also confess the situation of the sector in that terrain, the upbeat, what necessitated the downturn, and possible drastic solution.
But to put it simply, the Postal Service is operating under a significant burden in terms of what it has to fund for its postal retirees. But at the same time, so much mail has been leaving the postal system for electronic alternatives that it now looks as if the Postal Service's ability to attain the kind of revenue targets it would have achieved in the past is just no longer possible.
I mean, we're talking about a service to the American people. Let's solve it and get on to the real problems that are impacting upon people right now. This is about breaking the union, privatizing the Postal Service, and taking away the service to the people, the universal service that everybody has a right to. That's what this is about. It really isn't about dealing with the future business of the Postal Service, because the Postal Service, all it needs is a chance to survive and thrive, and it'll take care of business.
The United States lawmakers are also very much interested in the well-being of its postal services and wants a bailout.
What we're looking at doing is giving the authority with a mandate to get to break even or a profit to the postmaster and his governing board. That's what our bill does. It's why we want ours rather than a bailout. It's why most of the major newspapers that have yet spoken have spoken in favor of this bill, because it actually gets the post office back on the right track without any real loss of service, the service you expect whether you're in New York City or on an island far in the north of Alaska.
In June 2009, the UK government had to appoint Lord Young as Minister for Postal Affairs and Employment Relations to restructure the alien industry threatened by the same internet. Although internet penetration in Nigeria, going by Nigerian communication stats, is paltry, the country's 28-year-old post office, unlike its US counterpart, still go cap in hand to government for grants, an indication that it is still far from being self-reliant. Why is this, and what is the management doing to restructure the organization?
The other areas which are expanding, which people are not looking at, and it's also as a result of this IT invention, has to do with the e-commerce, with the small packets, with the financial services. For e-commerce, we are working on it, but it's not something that you just wake up one day and start it. One, you have to make sure that the logistics, the vehicles that you are going to use to convey these small packets and parcels from the post office to the individual's houses or to their offices have to be in place. The track and trace that we are talking about also has to be in place. The automation that we're also seeing, the connectivity and all the post offices and so on and so forth also have to be in place.
Some departmental heads of NIPOST also spoke with networks on their duties, the challenges of the work, and solutions as it appears to them.
We handle mails generally of all classes, from the large packets to the small letters that you know. And we have various ways we do this. Let me mention just a few. We have the expedited mail service, that is the EMS, we call it the courier arm of the organization. Then we have the ordinary letters people write and send. We have those who send in bulk mails, that is those who handle large volumes like the banks and big companies, like you have seen in our mails office. And then we have those who come to us to get services in other areas. We call them agency services.
It's a little bit quite tedious, but sometimes because we have old hands in the business, they already know some of the letters don't even carry adequate addresses. But yet, because they are used to all those areas for delivery, we are able to easily identify the areas that the letters are going, and then they are appropriately sorted. In a developed world, you see, sorting is done mechanically. It's done by electronic ways. But you can see everything here is manual. So I would want the government to upgrade our facilities, at least to meet the modern standards in developed world. That would greatly assist to facilitate and make our delivery pattern faster than it is now.
In 2010, the Universal Postal Union tasked members across the globe to fashion out ways to improve service delivery and ensure synergy. And Pan-African Postal Union, then at a conference in Lagos, strategized on a more holistic solution. While some Nigerians think the post office will die a natural death, the operators of postal services say the fear of the internet and telephones do not arise in Nigeria, as there are many things the post office can render that neither the internet nor telephone can resolve. For them, the place of postal service cannot be taken As they say, these services complement one another. The history of post in Nigeria dates back to the 19th century when the first post office was established by the British colonial masters in 1852. It was considered to be a part of the British postal system. It was a branch of London General Post Office, and this was the situation till 1874. In 1892, the Royal Niger Company became a member of the Universal Postal Union, and in 1898, the British Post Office established post offices at Badagry, Ekpe, Ikorodu, Ijebu-Ode, Ibadan, and Abeokuta. The first post office in northern Nigeria was then established and located at Lokoja in 1899. From January 1900, the southern Nigerian government took over the responsibility of running the postal system in the entire country. There were not too many good roads in those days, and as such, mails were conveyed by canoes, launchers, and runners, which could only operate at intervals of 2 weeks or less. While mail delivery was initially the business focus, British postal orders were being sold and encased as from 1907 in post offices located at headquarters of all district commissioners. By 1908, money orders and mail were directly exchanged by the German West African colonies instead of via London, as it was the practice. In 1925, Royal Air Force plane flew from Kano to Cairo, carrying mails for the first time outside the country. By the time of independence in 1960, 176 post offices, 10 sub-post offices, and 1,000 postal agencies were already running in the country. The Nigerian Postal Service Department came into being with the establishment of the Nigerian Telecommunications Limited, NITEL, on January 1, 1985, through the promulgation of Decree No. 18 of 1987. NIPOST thus became an extra-ministerial department. Thank you for having me, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I've been reading about this Stamp Duty Act. Can you kindly tell us what exactly is Stamp Duty Act?
Thank you very much, and I'm really happy to have this audience, to have this opportunity to explain to the general public what it's all about. And let me say that this act is not actually derived from the Nigerian Postal Service Act. It is a government act that is derived from the Accountant General's office. And what it means is that it's trying to protect the individuals that make purchases here and there. And that is to say that if you to do any purchase that is 1,000 and above, there is a need for you to fix adhesive stamp, and that is actually the area in which NIPOST is involved. NIPOST is not involved in the area of enforcement. It's not involved in the area of saying, look, we need to do this and that as far as the act is concerned. But for you to actualize that, you needed to affix a 15 naira stamp on all transactions that are 1,000 and above. So it is our duty to enlighten people to say, hey, if you think that the transaction I'm going to have with you will be such that maybe in future I need to go to court of law to seek for redress, then there it becomes duty bound on you to ensure that the 15 naira stamp, which is the minimum postage rate, is affixed to that transaction or to that receipt. This is to authenticate the transaction between you and whoever you are doing that transaction, either it is on individual basis or between an individual to an organization or between an organization to an organization.
In this ICT-driven generation, how relevant, how is NIPOST leveraging on ICT to deliver its services?
Let me start from the top. Let me say that the current minister that we have, the Minister of Communication Technology, Mrs. Omibola Johnson, is actually driving that. And incidentally, all the ICT agencies are within her supervision. So she's doing everything to ensure that whatever is going to be done in the post office is IT driven. For instance, you need to have all the operations automated. And this we have started on our counter basis. So when you get to some of our counter operations, particularly in the big cities, you can see that we have started that. We have what we call Project 50. Our intention is to ensure that this Project 50, all the counter operations in those post offices are automated. And then from there, we begin to expand to the 1,164 post offices that we have. We have already started also in the area of our ventures. For instance, our EMS, which is the courier arm of the Nigerian Postal Service. We have what is called track and trace. And that is also as a result of the IT, of the invention of the IT in place. So in the comfort of your bedroom or your office and so on, you can now be sure that you can trace the movement of your mail and mail item. So these are the effects, positive ones, as far as the IT is concerned, to the services of the Nigerian Post Office. Not only Nigerian Post Office, but the Post Office worldwide.
This actually takes me to the issue of pensioners. We notice the characteristics of government agencies for their pensioners to be carrying placards protesting for non-payment of one thing or the other. How is NIPOST doing in this regard?
Well, the pensioners of NIPOST are not different from any other pensioners. But the truth of the matter is that because of our numbers, so at any point in time they can get themselves together and therefore they will be heard. If you are talking about pensioners that have just a pocket of people like 200, 100, 1,000, those people may not be heard. But while you have pensioners to over about 7,000 pensioners, almost close to the number of people that you have that are in service, certainly their voice will be heard. So, but in real terms, we are not different from any other government pensioners or other agencies or ministries. But the good thing is that government has done what it's supposed to do. The liabilities of all our pensioners have been identified. There may be one or two commission error of omission and commission, but those things will be sorted out in due course. But what I'm happy to mention is that government has already identified as far as the liabilities of Nigerian pensioners, Nigerian Postal Service pensioners are concerned. And I also want to say by extension, it's getting to get to know the total liabilities of pensioners in this country. And very soon it will be the thing of the past.
Now, I know that many people ask the question, what is the time delivery in Nigeria Postal Service? How long or how many days does it take for a parcel or a package or a letter to be delivered by NIPOST?
Depends on where the letter is posted and also depends where it is going. Outside, I will tell you that it wouldn't be more than what we say J+3 or J+5 as maximum, depending on the distance that it has to cover. But I will tell you, on the average, it's J+3. That is, the J means the date of posting, then plus 3 other days. You are sure that your mail will be delivered. Then within the country, it also depends on which side of the country it is going. If it is a priority mail, I will assure you that in 72 hours it should be delivered. If it's not delivered, then something must have been wrong. Otherwise, on an average, more than 80% of the letters that have been posted on the same day will have been delivered within 72 hours.
The issue of postal codes keep coming up. A lot of people don't know postal codes. How are you trying to educate the public on the issue of postal codes?
I will start with you that I don't have problem with you because you have your computer. So just go through www.nipost.gov.ng and you see our postal codes and you get the information that you want. And for the other publics, what we are doing is that we publish what we call the edition of the postcode editions. And we are now working on the 4th edition. And the 3rd edition is on sale. And what we believe that in due course, we should be asking people to just go to our website and get this information. But because we know that not everybody has a computer or would have opportunity to get on a computer, so we are still producing the paper edition.
Make sure next time you want to send a post, give NIPOST a trial, and that could convince you. This is where we wrap up today's edition of Networks, your authoritative ICT program on television. Do not forget to join us same time next week. You can check us out on www.thenetworks.com.ng or send us a mail at info.networks.com. You can also reach us on the number on your TV set. Until I come your way again, think ICT analysis, think networks.